Carm Capriato, Remarkable Results Radio, is celebrating our 10th year doing episodic education. Write that down. It's tough to write that word, episodic education, but we have the best and the most content in the entire automotive aftermarket as we've been podcasting for 10 years. Find us at remarkableresults.biz or the Aftermarket Radio Network. Also on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for being here. I got a hell of an episode. It's all about volunteerism and supporting and helping people that need transportation. I think you're going to love it. Before we get started, a great word from our sponsors. Hey, did you know that NAPA Tracks has on-site training plus 6-day-a-week support? Well, it all starts when a local representative meets with you to learn about your business and how you run it. After all, it's your shop, so it's your choice. Let us prove to you that Tracks is the single best shop management system in the business. Find NAPA Tracks on the web at napatracks.com. Ready to optimize with today's class? Boy, listen to an episode we did with David Boyes. Great program. Roll out a training plan for your automotive shop. In just 5 minutes daily, boost knowledge, retention, and improve team performance. Start seeing results today. Join your peers at todaysclass.com. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and thanks. Hey, welcome back, everyone. Chris Cloutier is with me. Hello, Chris. How are you?
Hey, Carm. Glad to be back.
Well, Chris, you brought me this great episode because you've got the biggest heart of anybody that I know in the industry. And let me introduce the rest of our panel. Dan Georgopoulos, founder and CEO of Hands of the Carpenter at ehands.org out of Denver. Hello, Dan.
Hey, good morning.
If I get anything wrong on any bio introduction, please interrupt me because I'm not perfect. Thanks, Dan. And also, David Russell is with us, president of Onramp DFW. That stands for Dallas Fort Worth, I do believe.
You got that right. Morning, Carm.
Good morning, man. David's from, it's onrampdfw.org. And of course, Chris, CEO of Autoflow and Golden Rule Auto Care, shops in Dallas. Look at Chris. Thanks for this. Let's talk about the size of your heart and why this is important for our industry to hear about the extreme requirements of transportation. Guys, I was reading, I can't remember, Dan or David, if it was one of your websites, and I was searching all over, just getting a great feel of what you guys do. And one of the things that hit me so hard was how we take for granted that we put the key in the ignition, we turn it on and we go. I'm sorry, I guess as a young man, I realized how badly I wanted to drive and get my first car and all that stuff. But over time, as we lived our life, we went to our jobs and we took the kids places and we bought groceries home and all that stuff. We forget how critically important transportation is to us. And guess what? There's people that don't have it and need it. And that's what this show is about. Chris, talk to me.
You know, Carm, we all do it. All auto repair shop owners, at some point in time, we give away a car, we do some repairs for church, we do something. And I always say this, and a lot of shop owners, I think, are going to agree with this. And it's unfortunate, but no good deed goes unpunished. A lot of times when we help our customers or we help somebody in need, we end up helping them, but then it ends up, it doesn't end up well for us, right? And then we get burned and we get scorned and we don't want to do it again, right? And so I've done this and I've talked to a lot of shop owners about this. How can we help? How can we get back to our community? Because this, Carm, after 10 years, we all have huge hearts. We all want to help. That's what we're in the service business. It means we serve people. And I said, there's got to be a better way. And Hands of Carpenter, we started donating some software with them. So I got to know Dan over the time and what they've done. And then, David popped into my life from another charity, and David, similar in the DFW area, which is my local area, Dan being in Colorado. And I'm like, wow, this is great. And I really wanted the industry to know about, hey, we can help support this. We can still do it ourselves, but there's organizations out there that absolutely have the heart for this and they have the process for this. And that's a lot of times where we get caught up, Carm, because I said this, it's, every one of our customer wants a deal. Right? They all need help. They all come in and say, what kind of deal can I get? Well, I really need help on this, but there are really some people out there that need true help.
Thanks for the introduction. Dan, I got to ask you, help me clarify exactly what goes on. Do you have a repair facility as part of a Hands of the Carpenter?
Yeah, so we have 3 full-service repair facilities in the Denver metro area, all 100% geared towards serving working single moms.
And is it a full-time operation? It's full-time.
It has. We're 23 years into it, and
Wow.
it's full-time for all shops and all staff.
I can't imagine, Dan, the number of organizations that support single moms, I think, is, which was your site that I read that the single moms is one of the requirements?
Yeah, working single moms is the kind of narrow focus of who we think we can have the biggest impact on.
Got it.
Not that there's no one else that needs help, because there's millions of more people, but we think we can have the biggest impact on working single moms in Denver metro.
So a working single mom, a legal license. What else is the requirement?
Yeah, just a legal licensed driver in Colorado, license, insurance, and registration, and then a working single mom with kids at home. And if that's you or you know somebody that fits that, we're here to serve them.
You know, it's amazing when you stop and think a working single mom that has a legal license that doesn't have any transportation, but yet the word working and children in there just rock your socks when you think about the need that people have.
You're right.
This whole episode made me rethink everything about charity and help and support. It really did. As I did the research to get here, and I guess the point that I'm trying to make to our listener is that you should not be turning this off because it's not about finance and it's not about marketing and employee retention and KPIs. This is about the heart. And I said it a little earlier and I want to say it again. David, you got a pretty damn big heart to do what you're doing.
I think it resonates with a lot of people to see somebody who legitimately needs a hand up, that, and I think a lot of us have been there at some point in our lives where whatever circumstances conspired against us or something unforeseen happened and someone came out of their area and out of their generosity and helped us. And you know, we're a faith-based organization with that as the message that we've received that. And so we are there to give that. It's a joy. I tell you what, it is more fun than you can imagine to see somebody who has been, I mean, just a recent example of someone who has been taking the bus and taking the train for 6 hours a day. She has been traveling. She has to wake up and she has to leave by 5 a.m. to get there at 8. So we mapped out, okay, how far is it to her work? It's a 20-minute drive. So she has 5 hours back to spend, single mom, similar, Dan, and she has 5 hours to spend with her son. She almost immediately signed up to start taking classes to get her to go back to college. I mean, and so it's so much fun. I mean, so I don't know, big heart or not, but man, it's fun to be a part of that.
You know, transportation, I guess I've always been taught, is freedom.
Absolutely.
To come and to go and to do whatever it is that you need or want to do, but you know, majority of it is about earning a living and providing for you and or your family. And yeah, I guess the thought here is that stop and think. You don't have wheels. Just let that roll around your head just a little while. You don't have wheels.
I mean, Carm, you said it, right? You put the keys in the car. And as an auto repair shop owner, we know this. It's frustrating when the customer comes in and they're like, I put the keys in the ignition and it didn't start today. And they're mad, right? They're not happy because it's not an iPad or new iPhone or new iWatch or something that they're buying. It's this car that they rely upon that they always think is going to start. And they think, yeah, we get it. We just fixed this. Well, why did this break? I was just talking to a neighbor the other day and he's like, I said, well, you got an ignition coil going out. Well, why did it go out? And I'm like, well, it's 2017. Like, it's going to go out. Well, are more going to go out? Yeah, absolutely. Like, more are going to go out. Well, this sucks. And I'm like, yeah, this is a car. But for us, right, as auto repair shop owners, once again, like, the people come through our door most of the time, like they have the funds at least to do this. So, the 6 hour example, somebody who is, and I think both David and Dan, when they vet people, it's a lot about, hey, give me a car. It's not give me a car and I'll do this. It's like, we're doing this. And wow, if we had this, it would make our life so much better. Like, That's awesome, right? That's like, okay, giving that hand up, I think is an important part of it. It's not just like, yeah, and we all know that in life, right? People are like, oh, if I only had, well, these are people, I think a lot of times they help that are doing, right? And I think that's where the even more awesome, part comes in, this whole experience.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Guys, look, at podcasting has a lot to do with storytelling.
Hmm.
And David, Dan, I'm going to ask each of you to tell me if you got, listen, come in and do a quick keynote first. David, Dan, tell us all about your organization. Share with us the story that you would tell people. Dan, David, I'll start with you.
I'll be honest and say there are many, but I'll just give you a recent one that's just, impacted me greatly. It's a refugee family from East Africa, and a very well-to-do family there. In fact, he was president of university. He's a doctor in international law. But in his community, he saw some refugees being just brutalized by the government and said, I am the person to do something about this. I can go to court and I can represent them. And so he took the government to court and he won. And so immediately, that changed, but his family then became in danger. And so he and his family had to flee the country. They resettled in another country. And this is the crazy part, is that as they settled and got, all their day-to-day stuff figured out, he saw the same thing happening again in this new country. And so he said, I know what to do. And so he took that country to court. And all this is documented. You can see the documents that he wrote. He took them to court and he won again. And they had to change. And so actually different organizations actually swooped in and grabbed his family at that point because of how much danger they were in. And he ended up here in Dallas. But all of his degrees, all the things that he's worked to have, mean nothing in Texas. He can't practice law here. So he's essentially working at a 7-Eleven to try to provide for his family. And just the most humble guy you could imagine, that you would look at that and say he did the right thing. And yet all this stuff happened to him. So for us to come in and say, hey, can we help you resettle? And this isn't someone that I'm looking at and saying, out of my high position, let me read. It's like, man, I want to learn from you. This is amazing how you have sacrificed. And if we can come in and make your life a little bit easier and better and give you an opportunity to thrive here, we're thrilled to do that.
What a story. Sounds like the movie of the week.
I agree.
Wow. And so you, somewhere along the line, just give me a little details. Someone recognized this, went to you, and you went through a vetting process.
Yes. So our process is we work with other organizations in the area who have relationship with people already. And so they have at least a 6-month relationship. And so they can say, we've seen them working hard. We've seen the situation they're in. We vouch for them. An organization that we've worked with several times came to us and said, hey, this is somebody who checks all the boxes. And, we then did our interview and all of our due diligence. And it was quickly evident for us that this is the exact kind of person that we want to help.
David, like Dan has multi-locations and technician specialists that work on these vehicles. Do you do maintenance or just do the cars?
We don't do maintenance. We just give people cars, actually, which is a very unusual thing we've found out. So people can donate vehicles to us, or we go and purchase them. We get them serviced in great working condition, and we give it away to somebody.
Okay. So you're from Dallas-Fort Worth. You sent me a note. This blew my mind, David. Dallas is the worst large city in the U.S. for not owning a vehicle. And is that because the young people want to Uber, or is because there's a lot of struggling people?
It's mostly the second one, just because of the sprawl that happens here. The public transportation just really does not reach it. And if you look at some of the stats, you can look at some of the census reports, very recent, where it shows that of the around 800,000 people that are below the poverty line, only 1% of them can actually use public transportation to get to work.
Wow.
And it's a crazy number. So you have to travel a great distance to get somewhere where you can make a living. And so it's crazy. And that research was done by Rice University. You can look it up and see it's the number one worst in Texas. And then as far as large cities, it's the worst in the United States.
Thanks for the background and the update on that. Dan, give us your bestest story.
Those are hard. Like, I think David was trying to recall which one do I choose, but I think I'll choose one that involves something a little different than initially getting a car to somebody, because there's probably 20% of what we do is get cars to people that don't have them. And 80% is helping them maintain and make reliable vehicles out of the ones they have. What we've seen is a long view of that is important in terms of walking with them we walk with them for 3 years. Once they've gotten a car or once we meet them. And that involves a level of education around car care and just what the muscle memory, so to speak, is on what you need to do to take care of a car to make it last a long time, like Chris was talking about.
Hey, let's face it, your shop management system is the single most important tool in your shop, period. NAPA Trax has made selecting the right shop management system easy by offering the industry's best, most comprehensive SMS. Now, it all starts when a local representative meets with you to learn about your business and how you need to run it. After all, it's your shop, so it's your choice, and having local representation is a huge plus. Customizing Trax to your business, whether you're a one-person shop or a large multi-bay or multi-location company, a representative consults with you to help optimize your shop's workflow, efficiency, and profitability. Trax always has the flexibility to do business how you need to do it, which means it can also grow as your business grows. And unlike the other guys, will be there for you after installation with the best training and support in the business. Yes, a learning management system tailored to each role in your company. Simply put, Trax was designed and built for shop owners just like you. Visit us on the web at NAPA Trax, that's NAPATRACS.com. Transform your team with today's class, where automotive training is easy, quick, and fun. Just 5 minutes a day on our app can eliminate hours of looking up forgotten information later. It's perfect for technicians, advisors, and managers alike. Keep critical knowledge fresh and top of mind, ensuring your team operates at peak efficiency. Today's class is impactful, accessible from anywhere, and a bit of fun too, and we're not talking about after-hours pizza either. For training that gets results, turn to todaysclass.com. That's huge when you stop and think about it. To your point earlier, Chris, with your neighbor in the ignition coil, you buy the car once and you never have to fix it or repair it or maintain it forever. These things don't break, do they?
Yeah. So the one I'll share is about a single mom that it's a couple of years old, but it shows kind of a spiral effect of what can happen. So we got to participate in a small part of the journey of a single mom with 2 children who was working. She had a car. It was a car that someone sold her that wasn't a good long-term car. She moved in with another single mom to try to share space. And one of her kids got sick. And the other person she was sharing space with was concerned about that illness and actually asked her to leave. And at the same time, she basically had an unreliable car. She had to leave that apartment. Her unreliable car led to being what an employer would call an unreliable employee. And she lost her job. And so at that point, she found herself with 2 kids, no place to live, a car that wasn't reliable, and no job. Unfortunately, that led to her children being taken away from her because she couldn't provide for her family. And that's what a reliable vehicle does. It enables a single mom or anyone that's in need to provide for their family. It certainly is freedom, but I would use the word opportunity. And without it, you lack significant opportunity. That was the point at which somebody in her sphere of influence told her to connect with Hands of the Carpenter. And when she did, we brought her vehicle in and certainly confirmed that it was not the right vehicle for her to be in long term. She persevered and got 2 part-time jobs to try to continue to work and was doing the things, taking the bus, but again, desiring to get her children back. And her work showed or demonstrated to us her persistence, which is what we want to see. And we want to see that they're demonstrating the desire to move from where they are to somewhere else on their journey. And so we started working with her. We repaired that car to keep it going for a few months while she was able to save a little bit of money and support a fraction of the cost of a vehicle that we found for her. And over time, those two jobs turned into a full-time job, and she was able to get an apartment. She was able to get her kids back in her custody because now she was working, had a place to live, and could provide for them. And I just personally can't imagine going through that journey. The unreliable car is one thing, but if you're trying your best and you're unable to provide for your family, so you lose your family, I just can't imagine being in that situation, all because of a car and losing a job. And I think that's some of the compassion and passion that probably David and I share together.
You guys are saving lives.
Providing hope.
I'm spellbound by hearing these stories of how you've absolutely changed lives. Chris, there are so many shops throughout the country that are doing this within the sound of my voice. And I know even friends here in the Buffalo area say how they've helped people get over hurdles and humps in their life because of a friend asked them, can you help? I find that the people in this business understand freedom and opportunity. Using your word, Dan, the word opportunity, that's what the vehicle gives you, freedom. They understand how critically important it is for people, and we've seen them step up. But your organizations are big and they're bold and they're outreaching and they're there. How do you get the vehicles, Dan, David? Do you people that you know, do they come from around the country? Give us an idea. We'll start with you, David.
For us, it started off with us raising the funds to purchase each vehicle. And that still is a big part. And we're not buying new cars. We've got a perfect little window. Dan, I'm sure you've seen the same, as far as what kind of vehicle do you recommend, but they're, 10-year-old Corolla, or Honda Civic or something like that. That's the sweet spot for us. We will purchase those. We have several buyers that we use. Once upon a time, I was on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace trying to find something that someone is selling. What's awesome is as the DFW community is becoming aware of this, we've started having more people donate vehicles to us. And I just think of one story in particular. A woman went in to trade in her car and they offered her $500 for it. And she's like, whoa, this car's still running great, has years left. I'm just ready to, get something new. But $500. So she went and looked it up. And she said most of the organizations she found would take a donated car, but then they might sell it and put it towards something else, which is fine. And there's a lot of great organizations doing that. But Onramp DFW will try to take that car and then repurpose it to actually give it to someone. And then the people who have donated it actually come to that giveaway, and they can come and actually meet the person that's getting that car and they can hear their story. So that's become almost half of the vehicles we give away now are donated vehicles that we then take. And, Chris has been one of the shops that we use to get it serviced, and people that they have a big heart as well. And they're like, hey, here's a piece we can help with. And then we take it and we give it away.
How you doing the card thing, Dan?
Similarly, it is unfortunate that the number over the last decade, but maybe the last 5 years, the number of vehicle donation programs that take them and use a third party and sell them. And it would be amazing, right, Dave, if 100% of those would get out to people that need transportation. There's great vehicle donation programs that raise money through selling those cars for things like animals and children and things like that. So don't get me wrong, but the need for reliable vehicles, in my opinion, far outpaces the need for turning it into cash because the value is significantly lost. However, we take in about 400 vehicles each year. And believe it or not, roughly about 10% of those can be turned into a safe, reliable vehicle.
Wow.
Because of the condition they're being turned in. And I think aftermarket and, the used car market would also demonstrate, and statistically, that cars are being worn harder, used longer, higher mileage, those sorts of things. So that piece is unfortunate, but we're placing vehicles mostly through vehicle donations too, and supplementally through car purchases.
How many people are you supporting every year? Is it like one a week? I don't mean from a maintenance perspective, but getting a qualified individual into a vehicle. Are you doing it weekly? How many times a year?
I would say it's almost spot on once a week that we're getting a vehicle to somebody.
Cool.
We're serving now a little over 800 every year, an average of 4 times each year through the repair program.
Dan, where's all this money coming from to keep everyone gainfully employed?
The generosity of the individuals that give, really, foundations, or even, for example, what Chris said, there's times that you can give and there's times that you can not charge, right? And so
I get it. Okay.
So those are equal in my eyes, just however you can get involved. And partners, Dave mentioned, partners are really important too. And I would agree, if there's shops out there that can come alongside and support one of these cars that's been donated, or somebody that needs help, the best case is we do really well, and that's finding the right people, and shops do what they do well, and that's doing the repairs. And I think that's where some of the burnout can happen, when it's hard for a shop to qualify somewhere and knowing who's in need and who's not.
Chris,
I'm telling you, Carp, I'm gonna jump on, because when shops do stand beside these organizations, right? I mean, this industry is great, like Brakes for Breasts, like that. It's catchy, and I'm going to make a joke, but it's going to be inappropriate, so I'm not going to make the joke. But like, that's one of the organizations like we support. These other ones that we can stand beside, right? That's just not, hey, we wear the pink stuff, which is great. Once again, I totally support Brakes for Breasts. But Dan said it really well, and David said it, I think, really well. Like, what can shops do? We can stand beside them. We repair cars. And you know what is really nice? We always talk about culture, Carm. You talk about culture. We talk about culture. Everybody on here comes on. Every shop owner says, hey, I want a great culture. You know what makes a great culture is when your guys know that they're fixing a car, and that car is going to go to somebody who's going to give them the freedom and opportunities to have a better life. And there's not one technician or service writer that's ever going to go, oh man, I had a bad day today. They're going to go home to their wives and their kids, and they're going to go, wow, this is what we did today. We took this car in and we helped this organization, and this is going to the stories make you want to cry. I mean, they make me want to cry. How could you not be a part of it, right? How could you not want your people to be a part of it?
Totally agree, Chris. I was basically going to ask you that question.
Oh, I know you were. I was jumping the gun, man.
No, I'm so glad you did, because I think that helps summarize the discussion that we're having. And that is, if you're listening to this, share it with a friend who says, you've always wanted to help. You've always wanted to say, I'm this in my level in my career, and I want to jump to another place. Everybody says, what's next? Oh, I'm down to working 3 days a week. I'm a little bored. What's next? Ooh, this could be the episode that sets you off on a journey to help people. And to everyone's point, you're maybe not sending a car to Denver or to DFW, to David or Dan, but I guarantee you guys that there's an organization in your town that needs you and your services, your smarts, your capabilities, like, badly.
I agree, Carm. I'm going to jump on one more point that I think that they made too, and I think it's a good point to be made. I want to make sure that we discuss this, right? Not only are they giving away cars, I think both these organizations do a good job of making sure that the person they give the car to understands that car needs to be maintained. That car, I support this other organization, and it's called Every Village, and they go to Africa. And so Africa, everybody says, hey, we're going to go put wells in Africa. And well, they put a well in, and then the well breaks, and then nobody can get water from the well, and it's horrible. Well, Every Village goes in there and they teach people how to fix the wells. And it's like this great, and I'm like, wow, that makes sense. And I think it's the same thing about these organizations. They're just not giving the car. They're making sure that people understand they have to take care of this car, that they have to do this oil change. So there's beyond just this gift, it's also teaching them how to fish, right? And teaching them there's longevity in there. And I think that's an important piece and aspect to what they do as well.
Dan, I think it was you who said we helped them for 3 years on the maintenance side. Did you say that?
Yeah. That's
That-
a component. Those 3 years represent 3 years that we think it's going to take that person 3 years to get out of where they're at to where they want to go to.
Yeah. The discipline of maintenance and to see if they can make, enough money to just keep it going. I love that fact. That got me a great warm feeling that we're just not going to set it and forget it. We're going to set it and own it. If you will, to a point, we're gonna own the fact that freedom and opportunity only comes from maintenance, and those wheels have to keep rolling. Ooh,
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, here's a fun fact. We've started tracking the progress of women over the 3 years, and this will demonstrate opportunity where if a woman does not have a car, which is the same situation as the participants that David is setting up, that after she gets her car, if she's employed before she gets it, she gets one, her income increases an average of 27% in the first year.
Wow.
And that's opportunity, right? She can go out somewhere further than 2 blocks away to work.
Awesome.
She can work in a place that can pay her more than the neighborhood store or something like that. And it continues to increase. It's up to 54% by the end of the 3 years, but it's a significant difference. And her choices and her attitude and her perseverance contribute, I'm going to even say mostly to that. But without a reliable car, it wouldn't happen.
My mind's going a mile a minute, Chris.
When I was talking to David too, and both of these, I'm going to tell you, it's not something you talk about a lot on this, but there's a faith-based aspect too. I am a faith-based person. I don't deny it. I'm a follower of the Lord, and this Carm, I profess it. People come to my training, they're like, "Chris, you have scripture in your," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know, it's crazy," but I'm like, all business books were written off the Bible, by the way. It's just we've changed them. I think that's the important piece about that is like I think that spiritual part, or that, hey, we're here to help you. It not just, once again, not just the maintenance and not just the car, but like we're here to help you in your journey of life. Because when you're, and I was sitting down with David at breakfast, and he's telling me like the year that they spend with their people, like they're helping, like they're coaching, like they're there for them. Like it's not just, and I know Dan does the same. Like it's not just, once again, here, this and this. There's a life aspect to all this as well, where we do it. Sometimes we think that small little rock that we throw in the pond doesn't make a difference, but man, those ripples, they do make a difference, right?
What'd you have for breakfast, David?
I think I had the skillet or something, didn't I?
It was good. Yeah, it was good.
Good.
We've been there a couple of times now. It's
I just second that. And also, when we're just to connect a few dots here, when we talk about organizations and what is it that we do well, I think it's so important that these organizations are working together. And because sometimes it can be, a giveaway, here are the keys, and then that's the end. And that's something that really the model that we have is that's not the end. This is the beginning of that relationship. And so, Dan, I love that you guys are doing 3 years. We do 1. We pay for all maintenance in that first year. First of all, to help them just get their feet under them with their savings, but also, like we mentioned, to get in the habit that anytime I hear a noise or I feel something, rather than me just kind of saying, I can't afford that and pushing it to the side, saying, wait a second, no, I'm going to take it in because they're going to pay for it, right? And get in that habit of taking care of your car. But then also it helps us to maintain that relationship that you're talking about, Chris, that there's a relationship there that we're not just interested in them driving a car, we're interested in them and their success. And Dan, I think you said the word hope earlier, because really that's one of the main things we have to offer people that have gotten into a place that feels very hopeless. And when a group comes and says, we believe in you and we're gonna walk next to you through this, it's not only the vehicle, but now there's some confidence and, bringing in the faith piece as well, right? We say we're also here representing a God that loves you and sees you in this hard situation. And so I think all those together. So I'm thinking, if you're a shop owner, it may be hard to do those later steps. And so partnering with an organization that can do them, but maybe that organization can't come in and fix a car or purchase a car. They don't know that world. And so having those joined together really, really multiplies what we can do together.
So well said. So well said. Okay, the encouragement then for the listener, Chris, is to get up, get out there, make a phone call, drop your ear to the ground, get in your networking, community networking group. Community. There's the word we failed to discuss here. This is community on steroids.
I've been supporting Hands of Carpenter for 3-4 years now, Dan. I mean, maybe even 5 years. And it's in Denver. I don't care. Like, I don't live in Denver, but you know what? Every once in a while I visit Denver. Every once in a while, and I know shop owners in Denver. And when I go to Denver and I think about, and this is weird, I give blood too, Carm, and this is going to be totally weird. Like I've given gallons and gallons of blood because I have type O negative. They love it. And every once in a while I'll drive by somebody or I'll walk by somebody. I'm like, I wonder if they have my blood running in the veins. So I go to Denver and I drive around in Denver. I see somebody and, I might be like angry on the road because I'm trying to get where I got to go. And I'm like, I wonder if maybe some of the donations and help I've given has helped this person. It changes my perspective, right? I'm happy Chris versus angry Chris has to get somewhere. I know it's kind of messed up. But
I love that analogy is just the slickest ever. Is my blood running through their veins or is that vehicle on the road maybe because of my donation or my money or whatever? Wow.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Maybe one other thing to think about when you're wondering who's the ripple effects that Chris was talking about is we've also started studying the effects of reliable transportation on the children of the people we serve. And if you could imagine the David's story about the person that was going 3 hours each way back to work, they've also got children in school potentially. And how do you get to work and school and home? And what if you have a sick child at the same time? I mean, being able to have a car means you can keep your children in school and you can get them there regularly. And they can participate in things, whether it's sports or art or music, that are after school that keep them involved in things that are healthy and fruitful for them and their family, and not in things that, might be staying at home or having 5 or 6 hours free when mom or dad's trying to be on a bus while you're done with school. So the effects are more so than just the adult that's being served.
So well said, Dan. Dan Georgopoulos, the founder and CEO of Hands of the Carpenter out of Denver. I'm going to make that your last words. It was so well said. David, any final thoughts?
I just think it can be easy to not know and so to not do anything. And I know that's part of my story. And even what's led me here is to say, I need to be out there doing stuff. I need to be helping people. An encouragement for those of you that I know are doing great things, for people that are looking for how can I help, and at a cost even to me at times. And I just say, keep doing that and look for more opportunities. And if you feel the world around you feels negative or feels, whatever, it's a great way to put smiles on people's faces and to have that joy as well that you mentioned, Chris, that you go home at the end of the day and say, not only did I do something skilled, but I also got to help somebody with it.
Well said, David. David Russell, president of OnRamp DFW. That's onrampdfw.org. And by the way, Dan's email or organization is ehands.org out of Denver. Wow. 3 locations, you said, Dan? Yeah, he's shaking his head. His mic is.
We opened our third one just last October.
Wow, unbelievable. Just totally unbelievable. Chris, Golden Rule Auto Care, CEO of Autoflow, thanks for bringing this to me. I think that this was a great, heartfelt episode that we needed to do and to encourage our industry to put some muscle behind this.
We all help. I said this at the beginning. There's not one shop owner I don't know that doesn't do this already. We all do it. And once again, me, Carm, I ask a lot of questions to myself and other people. And I'm like, man, I don't want to be the one who makes the mistake in finding these organizations and finding, like you said, they're all over, and here's 2 that, I know both these guys, they're great people, right? They have a heart for this. How can we as an industry really stand behind something like this and really get involved? And I want shop owners to know that, $10 matters. $50 matter. A free car repair. Like Dan said, if you're in the Denver area and you're like, hey, you know what? And we know a lot of guys in Denver area, and I could do a free repair for these guys. What does that mean? It means one more dollar that they didn't have to raise. It means one more person that they were able to help. So I think not only can we help, with dollars and donations, but we can help with our service. We've got this massive network, Carm, that you've created that runs wide. And once again, everybody I know, from the shop owners, men, women out there, we have great hearts. And here's a way you can help and let them do what they do really well, and we can continue to do what we do really well.
Oh, thanks, Chris. I've got to encourage the audience to use Chris's analogy of the blood flowing through your veins or the vehicle that's on the road because of the contributions of time, service, or money that you gave. And I got to summarize this based on a lot of the great talking points that have hopelessness to hope. And that equates to freedom and opportunity. And we need to do a whole lot more of that. And if you're not, get involved. Thank you guys so much for being here. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having us,
Thanks, Carm.